Well, what's up, everybody? Stuart Forsher here. Lost 30 pounds 6 years ago and have kept the weight off for the past 6 years. Also overcame anxiety disorder as well as self-confidence issues. And I'm here to help you guys live a more healthy and fulfilling life. And I want to share with you guys something I learned recently. It's the 3 things you must gain control over to achieve long-term weight loss. And let me share this with you before I tell you what these 3 things are. The first thing you need to do is really decide that you are going to achieve whatever body that you want, whatever goal that you want with your body. You have to decide, you have to make that decision that you are going to do that. A lot of times, especially in January, we will state what we really want as far as our weight loss goals. And we may tell ourselves that, and we may tell other people that. But there are certain intentions that we have that are in the back of our mind, which is really things that we aren't willing to do to achieve those goals. Maybe things that we will need to give up, or things that we will need to start doing. And in the back of our minds, we already know ahead of time that we aren't willing to do those things. And so that's why a lot of times in the middle of February, people's New Year's resolutions have been basically gone by the wayside. So once you have made that decision, and I believe 99.999% of people can achieve their whatever weight loss goals they have. It's physically possible. It's a matter of making that decision. Once you've made that decision, here are the 3 things that you need to gain control over in order to achieve long-term weight loss. Number 1 is hunger, and number 2 is cravings, and number 3 is energy. Those 3 things need to be in check in order for you to achieve long-term weight loss. Why is it that sometimes people go on diets and they might lose 20, 30, 40 pounds, and then they'll gain it back, or gain half of it back, or gain it all back, or gain all of it back and then some? It's because one or more of those things are not in check. Either they're hungry, they're having cravings, or their energy's low and they aren't able to maintain that diet that they're on. So I learned these 3 things from Dr. Jade Teta, who's the author of Lose Weight Here. So you may want to check out that book. In the book, he talks about some things here that I'm going to share with you. So he says when you start off on a hormonal approach to fat loss, so by hormonal approach, he's talking about controlling these things, not counting calories, but looking at your hunger, energy, and cravings. And by the way, he uses the acronym HEC, H-E-C, to talk about these things. So when you start off with this hormonal approach to fat loss, you realize that eating becomes a matter of eating more of the right things rather than less of anything. And that's what we do. A lot of times when I help someone get started on a program, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so much food. How am I going to eat all this? And that's why, is because it's a matter of eating more of the right things. And because everyone is different, the right things can vary from person to person. For example, perhaps you know someone who eats large amounts of fat and protein, lost a ton of weight, and is able to maintain that weight loss effortlessly. Or perhaps you know others who have adopted a completely vegetarian or vegan diet and were able to attain and maintain body change. They were successful because they stumbled across an approach that matched their metabolic expression, physiological sensitivities, and personal preferences. But these people are in the minority. The rest of us are not so fortunate. We have tried tons of programs and still can't find the solution. This is because most of us continue to take a calories first approach rather than a hormones first approach to diet. So what Dr. J talks about here is being a metabolic detective. And instead of saying, oh, I'm just going to adopt a vegan diet, what he suggests is being more of a detective and figuring out what works for you. So he says that the first step in hormone first approach is to begin eating not a lower calorie diet, but a smarter calorie diet. And that's what we help people do, as I said. From there, they learn to pay attention to these things, these 3 things: hunger, energy, and cravings. How hungry they feel from meal to meal, what the strength and prevalence of their cravings are, and how much energy they have. Once your HEC, or HEC, is balanced, it's time to see if you are losing fat. Because even if your hunger, energy, and cravings are in check, if you're not losing fat, that's not helping you reach your goal, right? So if you are successful in losing fat, you now have your fat loss formula. And if you're not, it's time to play detective again. So you once again adjust your diet accordingly. Adjust meal frequency, fat content, starchy carbohydrate bites, and other dietary parameters until the inches begin to decrease. The ultimate goal is HEC balanced and fat loss achieved. This approach requires you to be a detective, not a dieter. So again, you have to start out with this clean eating plan like we do. And again, your mindset has to be such that you know you are going to reach your goal. That's a foregone conclusion when you're starting. You know that you're going to reach your goal. It's just a matter of how you're going to get there, and you got to be this detective to figure out how to get there. When you are losing fat and your HEC is balanced, you have found a lifestyle for body change that can be followed forever rather than a diet you do temporarily. So I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I lost 30 pounds and kept it off for 6 years. How did I do that? Well, I found a diet where my hunger, energy, and cravings are in check, and I'm not dieting. I'm not cutting calories. Now, I do cut calories every once in a while. I did do the 3-day cleanse the past 3 days. My hunger was through the roof, my cravings were through the roof, and my energy was in the toilet, right? But that was a very specific protocol that I knew what I was doing, why I was doing it, and that I was going back to my regularly scheduled regimen today, right? So it's okay to do these things if they're for a specific purpose, and you have your eating down to keep your HEC in check. So again, to summarize here, you want to change your approach to eating more foods that suppress hunger, control cravings, and elevate energy. We call these fat loss foods, not because they have magic fat burning properties, but because they make it more likely to achieve the 2 requirements for fat loss: balance hormones and calorie deficit. And that's what we do. Measure your HEC score daily. Adjust your diet so that your hunger and cravings are below a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, and your energy is above 6. And then measure your fat loss. This is most easily accomplished by assessing inches lost, not pounds shed. If you are not losing fat, then you need to adjust your food approach while maintaining your HEC score in the balance zone. Be the detective, not the dieter. And when you have achieved the balance, HEC score, and fat loss, you have found what I call the metabolic effect. The best part, and this is really awesome, I think you'll like this. This process helps you reliably navigate the inevitable metabolic changes of pregnancy, menopause, stress, and aging, right? Because just because you found a diet or you found this, the right balance and what works for you doesn't mean that it's not going to change over time. So when you understand this HEC concept, hey, Alicia, I hope you really enjoy this information. Once you understand this HEC concept, then as you get older and things change, you can revisit this concept and say, maybe I need to adjust this or that. Maybe I need to eat a little bit more starch, or maybe a little bit less protein, or a little bit more healthy fats. And so you can kind of tweak that, and as you're listening to your hunger and your energy and cravings. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, the book is Lose Weight Here by Dr. Jade Teta. I hope that you guys check that out. This is awesome stuff. Again, I can help you get started with a program that will introduce you and give you your baseline eating plan that will help you become that metabolic detective that you need to be to figure out what works for you. And we have a lot of tools as well to help you do that, so that you don't have to try to use willpower with all these things. But guys, if you found that to be useful, to be helpful and valuable, please like, comment, share this with others. And I'm here to help you guys. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks so much for watching.